Hello everyone and welcome to the next installment of your Bluegrass Area Leader Lesson. My name is Jessica Hunley. I'm the Madison County agent, and today we're going to be talking about air fryers. Air fryers are a popular kitchen countertop appliance. They are easy to operate and even easier to clean in most cases. Air fryers, they circulate hot air around the food and cook it evenly and quickly for us, and are a very healthy alternative to conventional frying. You use little or no oil, and the cooking process is pretty simple and straightforward. Food comes out nice and crispy on the outside and then moist and tender on the inside. So with that, we're going to dive a little deeper into what that looks like and what that means and see if this is going to be a good choice for us. So in this lesson, we're going to look at what is an air fryer and how does it work. What are the variety of styles and features of it, the pros and cons of using your air fryer, some food safety, caring for your air fryer, tips, and other consideration. So first off, what is an air fryer and how does it work? An air fryer is a countertop appliance that has a heating element and a fan and a basket that holds your food. They sit up on the countertop and you plug them into an outlet. They consist of a heating element at the top of the appliance, similar to a stovetop burner. And then there's a fan that is used to circulate the air in the basket or the tray that holds the food. The top half of the unit holds the heating element and the fan. The bottom half is the basket, typically. And then when the unit is on, the hot air circulates and it cooks the food quickly and evenly. So then while it's working, that air is circulating and it's surrounding the foods. And you do a little shake and make sure that it coats all over all of the food and gets it all nice and done. There is very little to no oil needed, and the food comes out nice and crispy and then tender and moist on the inside, so it preserves the flavor while making sure that it's done. These air fryers, they come in a variety of different styles and have a lot of different features, so you need to be cautious of the things that each different style has to offer, in a wide variety of price ranges as well. So you're looking at maybe $40 upwards to about $300. You can choose one with maybe digital knobs or controls. Some of them are multifunctional, so they may have different jobs or tasks that they can do, such as the ones that look like a toaster oven. They can do different things such as rotisserie or dehydration or toasting or an assortment of different functions. All of the units come with an operator's manual, and they include recommended cooking times and some temperatures. Many units will come with a recipe, and a lot of brands out there will come with a cookbook as well. So those are great to check out. So at this point, you might be thinking, so what is so good about the air fryer? I have an oven. Is it really anything that I need to be considering? And here are some pros to using the air fryer. They are easy to operate. A lot of them have a lot of presets on them, so it's a one-touch button that kind of does the guesswork and the thinking, much like a microwave. They're easy to clean, and the baskets and accessories are all come apart and are dishwasher safe. They are versatile, so you can roast, grill, bake, and do some dehydrating in certain ones. They are healthier than frying in oil, and the cooking time is reduced by about 20%. A lot of that may come down to trial and error too, so you might need to check out the recipes and the foods that you're putting in it. They do use less energy than your typical oven does, and there's no deep fried smell in the house. This particularly comes to mind. My favorite thing to do in the air fryer in my house is bacon. I hate standing over top of baking as it's popping me and making a mess, and it makes my whole kitchen smell forever. When I do my bacon in the air fryer, I don't have any of that. It's self-contained, the mess is easy to clean up, and it's delicious. There's no used oil that you have to dispose of or get rid of. It's very much an easy cleanup, and it's great for leftovers. On the flip side of things, there are some downsides to the air fryer. The biggest thing for me is the counter space that it takes up, so I have to find an extra storage spot for it. The fan can be loud depending on the type and the brand that you have. It does have a limited cooking capacity, so it's not suitable for cooking for large groups of people. For instance, usually when I do my pack of bacon that I mentioned, I kind of have to split it into 2 rounds. So I kind of feed my kids first, and then my husband and I will eat the second batch or whatever. It needs additional accessories, especially if you're going to bake in it, and we'll talk about that more in just a minute. And then the food has a different flavor or texture than deep fried food does, so if that bothers you, this might not be the right appliance for you. So let's get started into how we use the air fryer. And the first thing you're going to do, you're going to get it all ready, you're going to get it prepared. You're going to find the right place in your kitchen to put the unit, and then kind of decide on your recipe. What's the proper breading technique? And then kind of looking and considering other accessories that might be needed for that recipe. So once you've decided where it's going to go on your countertop, you need to allow at least 5 inches of space around the unit, and do not push it up against the wall. And also don't set anything on top of it. When you're considering your breading technique, you do not want to cook foods with a wet batter in the air fryer. The batter will drip off of the food and burn in the bottom and cause more of a mess, as well as a burning smell. If you want to use a breading, you want to make sure that you coat your food with flour first, then add an egg wash, and then follow with a breadcrumb. And make sure that you push those breadcrumbs solid into the food so that they stick to it and they don't blow around during the cooking process. Some of those accessories that we mentioned you can use in air fryers. You can use them to dry, roast, bake, any of those things. And you can use any baking dish that is oven safe as long as it fits into the basket. And that can be kind of tricky depending on the size of your air fryer. Accessories do not usually come with the unit, and they have to be purchased separately. So that's an added expense to also consider. So then when you're using your air fryer, you want to, you can do the preheat step, prep the food, set your temperature and time, flip the foods about halfway, kind of a flip or a shake, and then you're going to check the food for doneness, and we want to use tongs to remove the food. So then thinking back, as you preheat your air fryer, you need to allow for about 3 or 4 minutes. It works just like an oven, and food is ready to go if you will preheat that air fryer first. So when you're prepping the food, the frozen food or leftovers don't need any kind of prep. You just follow the directions on the package. If it's otherwise preparing from scratch, you want to use cooking spray or toss the food in vegetable oil. Don't spray the cooking spray directly into the appliance. You want to put it on the food. You can set your temperature and time on the appliance as well. And as a general rule of thumb, you're going to set the temperature 25 degrees lower than you would set it on your regular oven. Then as you are cooking your food, you want to give it a good shake or flip the food in the basket to make sure that it's the air is circulating all pieces of the food and that it's getting done evenly. When you pull the food out of the basket, you can check its temperature then, and the fan will stop at that point. But when you put the food back in the basket and it clicks back in, you kind of hear it click, then the fan will start back up. You can use a food thermometer to check for its doneness. You want to make sure that you are doing that. When we remove the food, it's best to use tongs or some kind of a scoop to pull the food from the basket, and that way when you dump it, you don't get all of the grease and the oils and the fats that you just cooked out of the food drizzled back over top. So you've had this nice perfectly even cooked food, and then it kind of ruins if you dump the grease back over top of it, and we want to prevent that from happening. And we mentioned the meat thermometer in the last slide, but here again is just a good reminder to make sure that you're getting your food completely done so that we do not have any risk of foodborne illness. Just as a general reminder, steaks and those things are a minimum of 145. Ground meats are 160, poultry at 165, eggs are considered done at 160, fish and shellfish are at 145, and leftovers and casseroles should be heated to 165, and that includes leftovers. Clean after each use to avoid that cross-contamination. So same ideas apply there as to when we're using a cooktop or an oven. So now we have just completed our recipe in the air fryer, and it's time to take care of it and clean it up. So after each use, you want to remove the basket and those accessories. You're going to wash it. I like to hand wash mine, so I have to make sure that I get it good and done. And any of the pans or trays or anything that you've used. If it has a baked on grease, you're going to let it soak just like you would a pot or a pan. Wipe inside and outside of the unit with a damp cloth or non-abrasive sponge. Make sure not to saturate the heating element up in the top of it. Dry all the parts before putting it back and storing it. Always check in your owner's manual as well and see if there's a special consideration to take for your unit. So here are some final tips and tricks when you're using your air fryer. First thing you want to do is read your manual. You're going to preheat it for 3 to 4 minutes. The air fryer liners are great for cleanup, but with those air fryer liners, you want to make sure that you don't put them in the basket to preheat only after you have the food to put in them. If you preheat the air fryer with a liner only, it will fly around and it can get caught in the element and burn. So we don't want that to happen. We are going to only spray our food, not the basket. When we use Cook and Spray on our food, it's difficult to remove that over time. It can kind of cause a buildup or damage. So we want to make sure that we're not spraying the appliance itself. We're only treating the food. It is okay to use a cooking oil that's in a bottle like Misto. And then we're going to remember not to use any wet batters, only dry batters that are pressed into the food. And then when you are considering recipes, we want to remember to reduce the oven temperature by 25 degrees. And as a general rule of thumb, it reduces cooking time by 20%. You can always cook more, but you can't uncook. So we want to kind of do it in increments if you are unsure on a cooking time. So as we wrap up here, I want to give you some last considerations before you buy one. We talked that they range in price from $40 to $300. That's a pretty good range of features, sizes, options, and accessories. And really just how much do you plan to use it and are willing to spend. Do you enjoy eating the deep fried food? The flavor and the texture of the foods are slightly different, and especially with meats compared to conventional frying. You might not like the end result. On the converse, you might really like the result. Is it worth using your counter space? How often will you use it? Is this going to be a primary method of cooking for you? Is it just used for novelties and reheating? Is it feasible in your home environment? You know, I think that there's a lot of people that this could be a primary source for cooking for them. I think of teens or college students. This could be a great way for them to reheat leftovers and make small meals, but it might not be for everybody. How many people do you cook for? Is it just you? Do you cook for a family of 5? Just some other considerations to take in, knowing that an air fryer capacity could range from 1.75 to 3 quarts, and that could make a big difference for a lot of families. A large air fryer with a capacity of 5 or 6 quarts will often require that you cook food in batches. So if you cook for a household of 4 to 6, you will extend that cooking time as well. And then what features are important to you? Do you want to be able to roast and grill, rotisserie and dehydrate, or are you only looking to air fry? For me, I have used both, and I have found that the air frying feature is the most convenient and the one that I use the most. Do I think the others have a place? Absolutely. It just really is a part of what you like and what your needs are. Well, hopefully by now you have kind of reached your own conclusions about how you feel about your air fryers. You are now going to take some time with your agent and prepare a recipe or two, depending on how much time and availability you all have from the lesson. It should be in your list of handouts. And you all can kind of be the judge. Is this something that you're going to like or not like? And how practical is it for you? And I can't wait to hear what you all think and what you decided. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.